The Premier League is 12 games in. Liverpool are in the driving seat. Manchester City, complete collapse. And Arsenal managed to beat Forest. Kind of the perfect weekend if you're a Liverpool fan. Looking at it from a neutral perspective, we did Liverpool a huge favour beating Manchester City. But this weekend coming up, you've got Liverpool against Manchester City and you've got Arsenal away to West Ham. Are we at a point now where we're saying if Liverpool beat City this upcoming Sunday, that the title race is done? When's the last Premier League side, to come back from an 11-point deficit? This Liverpool side right now, don't get me wrong, they didn't absolutely put Liverpool... They didn't put Southampton, to the sword. They didn't completely blitz them, blow them away, but what all the best Premier League sides who have ever won the title have done is they do not have to be at their best now to beat sides, to beat Southampton. They don't have to be at their best. Of course, they dominated, they completely controlled the game, but they don't have to be a 10 out of 10 performance to go and beat Premier League opposition. Make sure you go down and drop a like on the video. Make sure you have subscribed to the channel. It is quite early here. It's around 7:30 a.m. Florida time. The Premier League title race yesterday, like I said, the kind of perfect weekend if you're a Liverpool fan. I want to start by talking about Manchester City quickly. They look a shadow of the side where we've seen them win Premier Leagues recently. They're not scoring goals. They're not keeping clean sheets. They're not winning games. They've lost 5 in a row. 2 of those to my team, Tottenham. Still can't believe we turned up to it, hadn't scored 4. That's just unheard of. They've lost to Bournemouth away. They lost to Sporting. And they also lost to Brighton. Now, this is one very important stat that I actually want to mention when it comes to Manchester City, because if you look at their last 5 games that they have played, and you look at the aggregate scoreline in terms of goals conceded against goals scored, it is extremely alarming. In the last 5 games, they have conceded 2, 4, 8, 10, 14 goals against Tottenham, Bournemouth, Sporting, Brighton and Tottenham. And they've only scored 1, 2, 3, 4. They've only scored 4. Conceded 14 and only conceded 4. They only beat Southampton by 1 goal, right? Then you look at, they only beat Wolves 2-1. They only beat Fulham by 1 goal in 3-2. And they drew with Newcastle. They drew with Arsenal. This has been essentially going on since, I would say, September. The only game this season where Manchester City have really put a team to the sword and gone out there and absolutely destroyed someone, if you take other than the Bratislava game in the Champions League, was Ipswich, where they won 4-1. They beat Brentford 2-1. They drew 0-0 with Inter. They drew 2-2 with Arsenal. They beat Watford 2-1 in the Cup. They drew 1-0 with Newcastle. They beat Wolves 2-1. They beat Fulham 3-2. This isn't a thing that's been happening the last 5 games. This is the thing that's been happening all season. Manchester City, since that Rodri injury, look a shadow of themselves. Haaland, not scoring as many goals as we've seen in previous seasons. And you look at their next 5 games, I'm going to be brutally honest, and I can't believe I am about to say this, I don't know where City win their next game. I really don't. Liverpool up next in the Premier League. If Liverpool beat City at Anfield, they're 11 points clear. That is unheard of 13 games into the season. They then play Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest will turn up there with a game plan of counter-attacking, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. That's what they will do, right? And then Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. 3 days after Forest, they're fighting for their lives. You'd expect City to go and win that, but you just don't know with this City side. Then they play Juventus away, a Manchester derby up against Ruben Amorim's Man United, Aston Villa away, where Aston Villa have beat Man City in the last couple of seasons, Everton at home, Leicester away. This is the run of games. The next 5 after that, you expect Man City to pick up points against Everton, Leicester, West Ham, Brentford away, and Ipswich away. Then you get into January, and this is where it could be make or break. PSG away, Chelsea at home, Arsenal away, Newcastle at home, Liverpool at home, and Tottenham away. I'm looking at this Man City side right now. I don't think they have what it takes to win the title this season. I think the closest side that will push Liverpool to the very, very end will be Arsenal. You know, if you're an Arsenal fan, you're probably hoping this upcoming game is going to be a draw. Arsenal then beat West Ham. They goes from 9 points. Sorry, we'll go from 10 points, you know, providing Liverpool and City draw, and then Arsenal win, it will go down to 8 points, you know. But I want to move on to Arsenal briefly. Their fans, for me, still have to believe they have what it takes to win this league title. And I think they're in a position right now where they have played harder games than Liverpool and City. They have played the City aways, the Chelsea aways, the Spurs aways, the Fulham, the Villa aways, you know, the Chelsea, the Newcastle away. They've played a lot of tough games. And I know recently they haven't had the best of time. If you look at the last 6-7 games, they did go and absolutely smash Nottingham Forest to bits, which is why I don't think you can absolutely write them off. But I do think if Liverpool beat City this weekend, you can write City off. Just because you look at the games they are playing, they should be beating, right, Brighton away. They should be beating Fulham more convincingly. They should be putting more of a threat on Tottenham's goal. You know, Foden has been absolutely diabolical this season. Has he even got a Premier League goal yet? I don't know. And then you look at Liverpool, the side that have won 16 of their opening 18 games, which is honestly obscene. They've got Real Madrid coming up at Anfield, and they've got Manchester City at Anfield. These 2 games, you find out if Liverpool have what it takes. Yes, you beat Southampton, and it was a great result. But beating Real Madrid and beating Manchester City is a completely different task at hand. They are one hell of a side in the Champions League, Real Madrid. And they've slowly clawed back a 6 to 8 point deficit over Barcelona. They lost to, was it Osasuna recently? They drew to Celtic Vigo. I think Liverpool right now are title favourites, but if they beat Manchester City, I think it's over for City. You know, they've always been renowned as this team that preferred to be the hunter, preferred to be the chaser. But I look at them right now, and I just don't think they've got what it takes. You know, if you look at the Premier League table, just to read out some more stats for anyone who likes that sort of thing, you know, they've got an up front of Savio, Doku, Grealish, Foden, Haaland, and they have been outscored by some distance now by Spurs. Brighton, Arsenal have scored the same amount of goals. Chelsea have scored more. Liverpool have scored more. Brentford have scored the same amount as City. Brentford, you know, they've conceded 17 goals, Man City, which is more than Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, Spurs, Forest, Newcastle, Fulham, United, Bournemouth, the same amount as Everton. They don't look a side that's going to win a league title. Liverpool, I think, do. And I think the team that can push Liverpool to the very, very end, it will be Arsenal, in my opinion. They've got West Ham coming up, which I think Arsenal will blow them away. Then they've got Manchester United at home. If they go and beat Man United, it puts them in massively in the driving seat. Fulham away, Everton at home, Palace away, Ipswich, Brentford, Arsenal, play Brighton. They have got some winnable games, but I can't believe we're sitting here on game week 12 saying that going into game week 13, it could be over for Manchester City. That game, Man City have got to go out and show why they've won 4 league titles in a row. Go out and show why they've done a treble recently. Go out and show why they've won countless FA Cups, Champions League, league titles galore. They have got to go and show Liverpool who they really are. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you're hoping on a draw. If you're a Liverpool fan and you beat Manchester City at Anfield, that's it for me. That's it. And what does this say about Arne Slot? Walks into the Liverpool dressing room, has a big name to fulfill in Jurgen Klopp, and he's walked in and won 16 of 18 games. Like, they've had 1 defeat all season in around 22 games. They've won 4 in the Champions League out of 4. They're in the League Cup quarterfinals. They are in the absolute driving seat right now. In the driving seat. I personally think that we could be sitting here and come Sunday, we're talking about Manchester City are out. Even if they draw, they can't afford to still be not 8 points behind. Knowing the fact that Arsenal could drop that gap down to 7 or 8 as well. They can't afford to do it. They have to go and win City. But look, it's going to be very, very interesting. Liverpool 8 points clear. It's all in their hands. They're the best team in the league at the moment. They're the best team in Europe at the moment. Big games coming up in Europe. Of course, Arsenal play Sporting. It'll be interesting to see how they get on. Victor Gyökeres in the form of his life, bagging goals. Of course, Sporting played on the Friday, so they'll have an extra day's rest. Arsenal, of course, I imagine will travel out to Lisbon today. Manchester City play Feyenoord. You'd expect City to go and score 3 or 4 goals there. And then, of course, Liverpool play Real Madrid. Now, if you look at Liverpool's next 6 games, I actually fancy them to win. Am I going to say 6 out of 6? I'm looking at they've got Real Madrid. I think they'll beat Madrid. Then they've got Manchester City. I think they'll beat City. Their December run of games is going to be difficult, I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, I do think this Liverpool have what it takes to win all of them. They start by a Newcastle away. Then they play Everton away, Merseyside derby, Girona away. I think they'll draw to Girona because if they beat Real Madrid, they've practically qualified. And then after that, it's pretty straightforward with Fulham at home, Southampton away in the League Cup quarterfinals. Tottenham away is where they're really going to be tested because we've got this thing about beating the big teams at the moment. We've beaten Man United this season. We've beaten City 4-0. We've beaten Villa 4-1. Then they play Leicester, West Ham, Man United, Forest, Brentford, Ipswich, Bournemouth, Wolves. Up until the 22nd of February, they play pretty much from 6th downwards. They don't play any of the big boys other than Spurs. So yes, it is all in their hands. I do think they've got what it takes. For Arsenal, you just got to keep doing your thing. Keep focusing on yourself. Keep winning games. Like I said, if this City Liverpool game ends a draw, it's the perfect result for you. And of course, Arsenal play West Ham earlier, which is around 5:30 p.m. UK time. It's around 12:30 for me. And then by the time Sunday comes around, it's the big one. And if Arsenal already had 3 points, they put more pressure on both those sides. But then again, Arsenal have some tough games coming up. And for them, it's not about beating the big sides because they did that all last season. They beat the top 6 so many times last season. It's about the Fulham aways or the West Ham aways in games where, West Ham did beat Arsenal twice last year. Fulham did beat Arsenal. Those are the games where they need to go out and show they've got what it takes. But look, it's a fascinating Premier League title race. We've got 3 teams that are in it. Liverpool, of course, in the driver's seat. Of course, they're favourites. Man City are an absolute capitulation. Do we call it a crisis? I think we do. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you just have to hope that your team keeps doing what it's doing. And can we even write Chelsea off now? Chelsea are around the same sort of points as Arsenal. They are in and around that Conference League where they can heavily rotate all their players. We'll have to see what's going to happen. But look, make sure you drop a like. Make sure you have subscribed to the channel. Let me know your thoughts down below. It's going to be a fascinating week. European football coming out. Tomorrow, first game is Sporting and City, play Feyenoord, and then City, and then Liverpool, Real Madrid. I can't believe after 12 game weeks we could be saying Manchester City are out of the title race. What a job Liverpool and Arne Slot have done. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you have subscribed. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. I am out.